Wow, take a look at this, and take a look at this, and take a look at this. Holy moly! Hello, what is up guys? I'm your host Gordon and welcome to another one of my video. Today we got ourselves a very interesting foam dab blaster over here. As you can see, this is an LP55, which obviously the silhouette looks exactly like a Mark II, but it behaves like a Mark 2.1. This is definitely an interesting blaster, so what should I call it? A Mark II copy? Or should I call it a Mark 2.05 or something like that? That definitely sounds weird, but it is not weird for Mac Potato for helping me to get this blaster on this channel for today's review. Mac Potato is a local Malaysian online foam dab blaster seller who sells rare imported foam dab blaster as well as gel blaster as well as water blaster now. So if you guys wanted to get yourself one of these or wanted to know more about new release, Mac Potato started their very own website as well as a Discord server. The link will be provided in the description down below. In the box, we got the blaster itself, an extra magazine, a magazine holster, a blaster holster, 20 darts, safety goggle, and a manual. Okay, first look at the blaster. As you can see, the silhouette of the blaster definitely looks like a Mark II, no matter how I look at it. Or I would say it's like a watered down version of a Mark II. Why would I say so? Because the weight of the blaster is on the lighter side. On the grip over here, it doesn't really have the metal plate just like the Mark II. It doesn't really have a safety button like the Mark II. Just that this blaster over here behaves like a Mark 2.1 because of the MagFat system. And what surprises me is that this blaster actually being released before the Mark 2.1, and I was like, how is this happening? Well, right now over here I do not have a Mark 2.1 on hand, or else I can actually do like a comparison. So for now, let us stick with this review over here. Okay, the color of this blaster over here, I have like mixed feeling of it. It is a transparent clear plastic, but it is more on a black transparent clear plastic, so it actually makes this blaster sort of intimidating unless if you plan to paint it. The blaster itself also comes with a lot of similar accessories. For example, the blaster holster over here definitely looks exactly like the holster for the Mark II. Okay, here's the funny thing. We got the Mark II over here. Apparently, you can't really put the Mark II into the holster because this holster seems to be smaller, which means that this blaster is actually thinner than the Mark II over here. Other than that, it also comes with its very own magazine holster. It's not a speed loader anymore, but this only comes with one additional magazine. So basically, you just put the magazine into the holster over here, facing down. There you go. Other than the blaster holster and the magazine holster, it even came with a similar accessory like the Mark II, which is the I would call this the blaster extension or something like that. Again, the blaster extension will not fit the original Mark II. Speaking about the blaster extension, you can't remove it in a normal way, which means that you can't pull it like that. In fact, you have to pull it upwards, just like so. Speaking about attaching this, the blaster does not come with standard Picatinny size rail. This is basically their proprietary Picatinny size rail, which means that you can put your favorite accessories in this blaster. Okay, back to the blaster over here. So the grip of the blaster over here is actually pretty comfortable because there is actually some cut off grooves for you to rest your fingers in there, which I'm personally a big fan of. The mag release button is on a very standard spot. Basically, you can just reach it with your thumb and just click on the button and pull off the magazine. Inserting and releasing the mag seems to be pretty smooth. The trigger pull of this blaster is okay, it's kind of smooth as well. Looking at the back of the blaster over here, unlike the Mark II, it doesn't really have a prime indicator, so you will not know whether or not you primed the blaster. Speaking about priming the blaster, the priming doesn't seem to be really hard, so I am assuming that the FPS will not be as high as the Mark II. If you take a closer look in the blaster actually comes with a aluminum barrel, which is a good welcome. The iron sight of the blaster is a lot different than the Mark II over here. It is much narrower than the Mark II. In fact, I personally prefer this iron sight because I personally think that it is much easier to aim with this. Other than that, the weight distribution of the blaster over here seems to be quite suitable for blaster spinning, if you're in that kind of thing. Overall, I would say that this is actually a pretty simple looking blaster over here. I can basically summarize this as a Mark II copy with a Mark 2.1 behavior, hence known as the Mark 2.05 copy some sort? Yeah, I don't really know what to name it. Let us just call it the LP55. So I guess enough of me talking, since this blaster claims that it is able to shoot over 100 FPS, so I would consider this as a sort of a high performance blaster. Therefore, I will be using some high performance darts in our testing, which is the bamboo dart. So without further ado, let us go test the blaster out. Okay, we are back. The performance of the blaster is actually not bad. The blaster can actually shoot from 105 FPS all the way to 112 FPS using bamboo darts. What surprises me is that the accuracy of this blaster is actually not bad. In 8 meters, this blaster is really accurate, no joking. Hitting a target is definitely not an issue. Operating this blaster, so far I encountered just a little bit of jams. That happens when you actually overload the magazine over here. Well, you can actually chuck in about 8 darts in this magazine, but what happens is that because of the spring compression, it actually pushes the darts slightly out of trajectory, which because of that, the darts do not align with the barrel correctly. So when the pusher actually pushes the dart, you won't be able to load the dart because it will effectively crush the dart because you are pushing the darts basically outside the barrel. But when I load 6 darts in this magazine over here, none of this will happen. So make sure do not overload the magazine. The most optimum capacity, 6 darts. Overall, it is actually a not bad blaster, just that this is not the kind of blaster that you should bring it out to the public because of the color. Well, unless you paint this blaster into some brighter colors. So yep, that's all for today guys. Like this video for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe if you haven't already because more videos are coming up, so always remember to ring the notification bell button. And of course, I'm going to see you in the next video. Adios guys!